Hi everyone, in today's video I'm going to be talking about comparison, which I think is something that we can all relate to. This is going to be a chatty video, so you can put me on in the background and go about your day, and you can draw or do the dishes or whatever you want. I'm going to be talking about comparison, specifically relating to comparing ourselves to other artists, which I think it's something that it's quite easy to do because we're surrounded by art all the time. You can see it in books and in magazines and on your phone, like Instagram, Twitter. And I think it's wonderful to see all of this different art, but at the same time I think there's like a fine line between inspiration and comparison. So I'm going to give you 5 tips on how to stop comparing yourself to other people and to other artists, and how to just build your confidence up with your own artwork as well. And I hope I don't sound too much like a life coach, but nothing against life coaches, but I find these types of videos like really useful myself, so yeah, I hope you find this useful as well. So firstly, I think there's a lot of different ways that we as artists compare ourselves to other artists, and I think sometimes there can be useful ways that we compare ourselves, and other ways that, you know, there's just like no merit to it whatsoever. So one way that we compare ourselves to other artists is to focus on the numbers. So focusing on how many likes a post gets, or focusing on the amount of followers that we have. And I totally understand why we compare ourselves in this way, because, you know, with numbers you can easily see that one number is a lot higher than another number, so it feels kind of natural. And I'm definitely guilty myself of comparing myself to artists in this way. And I think that I also sort of believe that there's this kind of magic number that's out there that, you know, if you get this number then suddenly you'll have all these amazing like commissions, and your creative career will suddenly, you know, like skyrocket. And I'm sort of in two minds about this. So on the one hand, I know that there's a lot of artists that don't have a lot of like social media presence, they don't have a lot of followers, and they're getting a lot of work. And then on the other hand, I think that being more well known is gonna open up more opportunities for you. And I also see other artists that have like built up these really large communities, and like they're really supportive, and they're giving stuff to their community, and their community is in turn supporting them. And yeah, it just seems like a really like lovely sort of place, and their community just allows them to grow, and I think people really enjoy seeing that journey. But having said all of that, I do think that it can be really dangerous when you're just focusing on the numbers specifically themselves, and you're forgetting that those numbers actually represent people. So yeah, I think this first tip would just be focus on the people and not the numbers. And I think we've all had like a really lovely comment before on one of our posts, and that actually means so much more, that somebody's taken the time to write a lovely comment than just somebody like double tapping a like or something, or getting like another follower. But yeah, so a couple of things I would suggest is, number one, if you do want to track your growth, one way you could do it is maybe just look at your stats every month. So you're not getting into that habit of looking at how many followers you have day in, day out, because then, you know, the numbers are going to be up and then down. And if you track them, say at the beginning or the end of the month, then hopefully you're going to be going up. And if not, then you can, you know, maybe do something about that. But you're not going to be thinking about it all the time, because you're just allowing yourself like that one time to look at it. And yeah, then the other thing, like I mentioned, is just to focus on the people more. So focus on all the really lovely comments that you've got, and then also like give back to your community as well. There's going to be certain people that you will notice that are kind of like your true fans, that they keep showing up for you, they're always liking your work or commenting on it and sharing it, and if you've got a shop, maybe they're the ones that are always buying stuff from your shop. So yeah, just take the time to make somebody's day and go and follow them, and just leave like a really thoughtful comment, and yeah, you might make some friends that way too. So something that has really helped me get over my own comparison with artists is actually talking to them and making friends with them, because I think sometimes when you don't really know another person, you kind of put them up on a pedestal and you kind of idealize their lifestyle. You think maybe they just get to draw all the time and their life is amazing, and you don't know like the kind of internal struggles that they might be going through, the self-doubt, maybe projects that they had that were cancelled, and yeah, a whole load of different things that you don't know goes behind the scenes. And if you actually start making friends with other artists, then you can give each other advice. So I'm a member of like this masterminds group, and somebody that I made friends with online, she actually asked me if I wanted to join in with this, and yeah, it's been so much fun. And it's just really nice to know that even though we're all in kind of different stages of our career, we all go through similar things. We all have like insecurities and things that we're working on, and it's just really nice to be able to give advice and support to each other. Sometimes I think comparison can actually be helpful because it can show us what we want. For example, if another artist has recently done a picture book, and you can end up comparing yourselves thinking, oh, why haven't I done that? Their work's so amazing. Like, you could actually turn those negative feelings around into something productive and think, oh, okay, this is definitely showing me that this is something that I really want to accomplish myself. And something that I would do is, think about things that you're maybe missing in your skill set or steps that you can take to accomplish that. But make sure that when you're like talking to yourself, you're giving yourself constructive criticism, and that you're not just putting yourself down, and you're not just being like, oh, well, their work's amazing and my work's rubbish. Like, be really specific as to what it is that they've done that you want to do. And I don't mean, just copy what they've done. I mean, what things have they done? For example, it could be they're really great at doing character design, and maybe their characters, they show them from a range of different angles and different emotions, and maybe the body language is just really expressive, and that's something that you want to work on yourself. It doesn't mean that you have to draw in their style, it's just that you recognise that that is a skill that you want to work on yourself. Or maybe you're amazing at drawing people, but you want to work on settings, and maybe sort of work on how a setting can like reflect the tone in a story. I think often when we compare ourselves to others, it's because we're finding it hard to believe in ourselves, and we're finding it hard to believe that we can do the things that we really want to do. So I think it's important to try and notice what kind of language you're using when you're talking to yourself and when you're describing your work, and see if you can be kinder to yourself and think of positive things to say about yourself and about your work, because that can really affect how you feel about yourself. So something you could do is, you could either just, when you're drawing, just think, oh, I really like how I've drawn this face, I like the lines that I've used, I like the colours I've used. Like, it could be any little thing like that. And it could just be something that you're kind of consciously saying to yourself, or you could keep a journal and write these things down. if you're struggling to sort of think of nice things to say about yourself, then maybe ask some friends to say things about you, or there's probably people out there already that have said nice things about your work, so maybe you could copy down a few nice comments just to kind of get the ball rolling on that. My last tip to overcome comparison is just to get really stuck into your work. And I think often we can spend a long time doing research and getting inspired, but then that can quickly lead into comparison, especially because the inspiration we're looking for is coming from other artists. So I would suggest getting your inspiration from other places. So for example, if you were doing a project that was all about foxes, you could look for like a nature documentary that maybe talked about the habitats and what they eat and their behaviours, and you could look at how the foxes move, and I think you'd find that you just get like really kind of focused into doing your work, that you then wouldn't really notice what other people are doing. And yeah, so if you're focused on doing your own work, you're not going to be comparing yourselves to other people. Thanks so much for watching this video. If you found it useful, then please give it a like and maybe share it with a friend. And let me know your experience of dealing with comparison, and if you have any tips, leave them in the comments. And don't forget to give it a like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.